They say you should never meet your heroes in person because if you do, you will be ultimately disappointed. For those who had the displeasure of meeting Robert De Niro yesterday in New York City, I am sure disappointment doesn't even begin to describe their negative experience. Like I told you guys yesterday, when I was growing up, Robert De Niro, he was one of my favorite Hollywood actors. I would never say he was my hero. I have never idolized another dude, but I have always enjoyed and respected his work. If you've ever seen the movie Goodfellas and you know the backstory, the real story of the Lucchese crime family, Robert De Niro, he played the role of Jimmy Burke to perfection. In the movie, they call him Jimmy Conway, but his real name was Jimmy Burke. Even minute details like the way Jimmy Burke would hold his cigarette, the way he would intimidate people just using his eyes. When it comes to acting, Robert De Niro is a perfectionist. If he is taking on a role, he is making it as close to real life as possible. Cape Fear, Casino, Meet the Parents, The Irishman. Next year, his newest film, I think it's called Alto Nights. It's going to be released about Frank Costello and Vito Genovese. The script, it was written by Nick Pileggi, the same dude who wrote the books that Goodfellas and Casino were based on. The legacy of Robert De Niro, it should be cemented at this point. He is one of the most successful actors in the history of Hollywood. Classic movie after classic movie. But once again, another legacy is being tarnished by the incurable disease of OMB. Orange Man Bad! If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link for channel memberships in the description below. Matt Ayers and Robert Laguerre, thank you guys for signing up over the weekend. If you want to support the channel and join us in our daily discussions on Discord, click the link in the description below. Over the years, we have studied a lot of terminal cases of stage 4 OMB. Doctors at Woke Memorial Hospital, they remain baffled. They cannot find a cure for this disease. We have seen severe cases with the Yentas on The View. The disease, it causes an elderly woman named Karen to call herself Whoopi. The symptoms get so bad it makes her think it's appropriate to hike her leg on national television and emulate the sound of a trumpet with her boodle. We have seen what the traumatic symptoms of OMB have done to the wicked weave of the woke Joy Reid. Matter of fact, earlier this morning, Joy Reid's uncontrollable symptoms were caught on camera in the streets of Manhattan. Someone named Ben Bergquam, he approached the bundle of joy as she was parking her broom outside of NBC Studios. Ben, he was concerned. He was worried about her health. When someone is suffering through OMB and you're concerned about them, you don't want to mention the disease directly. Instead of asking Joy Reid how she was coping with OMB, Mr. Bergquam, he decided to rename the disease. He asked her how she was dealing with Trump derangement syndrome. This simple question, which was based in concern, it ignited so many feelings of outrage in Joy Reid, the violent twitching damn near caused her hair to fall on the ground. Watch for yourself.
Do you think people with Trump derangement syndrome know they have it?
You're an idiot.
And second question, did you steal Trump's haircut or did he steal yours?
Pretty traumatic, right? This disease, it's powerful. It causes the inflicted to lose physical and emotional control when they hear the name Trump. But as bad as Joy Reid's case is, as painful as it is to watch the Yentas on The View suffer through this incurable disease, you can make a strong case that no one has a more severe case of OMB than Robert De Niro. Yesterday, Bob De Niro, he was wandering aimlessly through his neighborhood in New York City. One thing about stage 4 OMB, it causes patients to be extremely sleuth. They are excellent at getting away from their caretaker so they can wander the streets looking for things that trigger them, like, someone wearing a MAGA hat, the American flag displayed outside of someone's brownstone, or the traumatic experience of walking by a fruit stand and seeing fresh oranges on display. My inside sources tell me that is what triggered this response from Bob De Niro. He walked by a fruit stand in New York City, and the symptoms of OMB completely took over. Watch for yourself.
You are gangsters. You are gangsters. You're washed up. Fuck you. You're a little punk. You're a softy. You're a nobody. Your movie sucks.
Robert De Niro is 80 years old. 80 years old. And he is yelling at strangers on the street, accusing them of being gangsters? This is what OMB does. It destroys everyone it infects. Imagine your grandfather behaving like this. This is the kind of behavior I expect to see from an 18-year-old kid. I don't expect to see this from an 80-year-old man. All kidding aside, why is Bob De Niro so bitter? What the hell does he have to be angry about? Bob De Niro is worth $500 million. He has been living a life of luxury for as long as I have been alive. On the surface, Bob has no reason to live in a constant state of bitterness. But as it turns out, there's actually a legitimate reason for his anger. Well, Casey, of course there is. He is suffering through stage 4 OMB. That would make anyone angry. Yeah, that's true, but there's another reason for his bitterness. You see, we are living in perilous times. Our democracy is under attack. According to Bob De Niro and our fearless leader John Biden, our democracy has never been less secure. No. It's not because of the millions of undocumented migrants crossing over the southern border. Those innocent people, they are coming here to start businesses. They are coming here to receive a free college education, free food, free cell phones, free housing. Those people aren't a threat to our democracy. They're just future voters for our fearless leader. Our democracy, it's not being threatened by unsustainable inflation. According to our fearless leader, inflation is under control. Thanks to the hard work of John Biden, inflation is only 3% now instead of being 9% like it was 18 months ago. But KC, every time I go to the grocery store, everything is still unaffordable. Prices are still 20% higher than they were when Trump was in office. What are you doing? Stop looking at things objectively. That's not allowed. You should be celebrating the fact that our fearless leader has found a way to only raise prices 3% instead of the usual 9%. Thanks to Johnny B. Biden, you are saving 6% on groceries, even though you're still paying 15 to 20% more. So be appreciative. According to Bob De Niro, our mythical democracy, which is supposed to be a republic, it is not being threatened by foreign enemies. Sadly, the enemy is within. We are being threatened by a domestic warrior. He has organized an army of patriotic Americans who proudly fly those painful American flags. They wear MAGA hats and shirts featuring the face of public enemy number 1. They pay their bills, they pay their taxes. Some of them even work 2, maybe even 3 jobs just to support their families. In one extreme case, I even heard about a group of these dangerous threats to democracy praying to the real God instead of the woke oak tree. According to Bob De Niro, the biggest threat to democracy is Donald Trump and the normal people who support him. Watch for yourself.
Even these people over here are it's kind of crazy. It's really crazy, and this thing, Donald Trump, has created this. He should be telling them not to do this, but he's just, he wants to sow total, he wants to sow total chaos. Because the only way to preserve our freedoms and hold on to our humanity is to vote for Joe Biden for president. Really. We don't have a choice.
This is all they can run on. This is going to be the Biden campaign. Think about what Robert De Niro just said. He is begging you to vote for John Biden, and the only reason he can provide is we don't have a choice. Basically, what Bob is saying is he knows John Biden sucks. He knows John is incompetent. He knows John has no answers. He knows the only thing John Biden is capable of is fucking everything up. But when the only other choice is Donald Trump, you gotta select John Biden because he sucks less. You got to vote for John Biden because Trump is a threat to your freedom. Now, of course, this couldn't be further from the truth, but like I told you guys yesterday, Johnny B. Biden, he is going to use the power of celebrity to convince people that Trump is dangerous. Bob De Niro, he is not the only one pushing this fantasy that Trump is a threat to your freedoms and democracy. Charlie the Chihuahua, he is also consuming the shit sandwich. Well, KC, who is Charlie the Chihuahua? His stage name is Charlemagne the God. He co-hosts The Breakfast Club with DJ Envy on Power 105. I call him Charlie the Chihuahua because he's way too short to be considered godlike. This dude's like 5'3", maybe 5'4". If you passed him on the street, you wouldn't have to worry about bumping directly into him. You'd have to worry about stepping on top of him. Last night on Fox News, Charlie, he was pushing the same false narrative that Bob De Niro pushed yesterday. I really believe Trump is a threat to democracy. He's trying to steal our freedoms. This is so dangerous. This is their only option. This is the only way they can win. Trump is campaigning on facts. All he's got to do is ask a simple question. Are you better off today than you were in 2019? For 90% of the population, the answer is no. Truth is a luxury that John Biden doesn't have. That's why he is trying to spin the inflation numbers. Yeah, inflation is down to 3% or whatever the hell it was last week, but that doesn't mean prices are down. It just means they're not going up as quickly. If you look at every key issue, it is a disaster for John Biden. Immigration, disaster. Foreign policy, disaster. Inflation, disaster. His public image, disaster. Weaponizing the federal government against the Trumper, disaster. All they have done with that is help Trump with minority voters by putting him through these trials. Gas prices, disaster. Public safety, disaster. In 3.5 years, I can't think of one thing that John Biden has gotten right. Can you? Seriously, name one thing that John Biden has gotten right in the last 4 years. Also, let me know what you think of Bob De Niro. His symptoms of OMB take over and he makes a fool of himself in the streets of New York City. Who has the worst case of OMB? Is it Bobby D, the Wicked Weave, or the Yentas? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys later.